What?
Like there really isn't as much as I thought there would be.
Well, this is our 7th episode of the Unbiased Opinion, and we've been on a little hiatus. I think we haven't done one. We didn't do one last week.
No.
Or the week before that, did we?
It's really like almost 2 weeks, like a week and a half or so, right?
I have no idea. So,
No, it's been
I think it's been 2 weeks.
yeah.
2 weeks to Sunday, which is when we usually post. So, this is our, as you said, 7th episode of the Unbiased Opinion. And today, since there's only 2 of us, that other guy, Greg,
Yeah.
couldn't make it. So it's just, I'm Colin.
I'm Daniel.
So it's just us 2 in here. Alone. No witnesses. So, today, within Godzilla vs. Kong coming up relatively soon in March, we decided we're going to talk about, or just give like a series overview of Godzilla, and then maybe later in the episode we'll talk a little bit about Terminator, because with Dark Fate flopping, embarrassingly flopping in its opening weekend, we'll talk a little bit about that and whatnot. So let's start with Godzilla then. This like stupid microphone.
Are you Belichick?
Yeah.
Stupid thing.
So I guess we could talk about the original one, which is from 1954. Gojira, as its street name is more commonly known as.
Yeah.
So what do you think of it, the first one?
I thought it was good. Like obviously it's a classic.
Mhm.
So it has that element to it. But overall, I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the story was good. Godzilla was good in it. I mean, you always have to give it the context of like when it was made, you know, like with his first appearance, it's a puppet.
Yeah, over the
Yeah,
hell.
but like, I mean, I think that kind of set the tone for the entire Godzilla franchise, stuff like that, where like the little quirky, like you appreciate that.
It's like
the ridiculous.
the kind of schlocky effects and whatnot, but then
Yeah.
it's a product of its time.
Yeah, and like the overall, like it was definitely ahead of its time with like the destruction of Japan, like the Tokyo, right?
Yes, that Tokyo did get, or Japan did get hit by 2 nuclear bombs.
God. No, but no, but like it was ahead of its time to show like, you know, like a massacre like that, like or just
Like
destruction
9 years after.
destruction of a city and stuff, and so I mean I thought it was overall was really good, but
And this one also showed the effects on the people, like people suffering and people getting like,
that's what
murdered.
I mean. Like it was ahead of its time in that.
Yeah.
Like it was actually showing people get killed, not like if you look at like the Universal monster movies, like how they showed people getting killed was like the Wolfman was like he would kill one person, but it was like him like biting the neck, but they didn't show any graphics or anything. And then they would like, oh my God, the person died, and then like that was their big whole like they wouldn't even sometimes show the person getting killed. So like when you have Godzilla, then like destroying
this
not
one
just
really
people,
showed
city.
This one really had like cities like in just ashes after Godzilla's rampage, and it showed people either dead or really hurt
Yeah.
in hospitals.
Yeah.
And then there's one part where they also got like those radiation detectors,
Mm-hmm.
and like because whenever Godzilla went, it was also radiation followed him, so it made places uninhabitable. So
Yeah.
really kind of,
What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. You know,
Yeah.
it's no Godzilla's Revenge, but it'll do.
That one is just.
Then we'll get to that. Well, we won't have to go over every movie, but I guess.
I was gonna say because some are pretty like forgettable.
Hey, Godzilla Raids Again, because I watched all the Godzilla movies last year around December
As a build up to.
I watched. It was pretty miserable. I watched about 3 a day, sometimes 2, almost every day. I watched it consecutively.
Yeah.
Or like whenever I had to go out with friends, and then I didn't. But it took me about 15 days to do it. And some of them are really forgettable, like Godzilla Raids Again. And Garrus is barely in it, and he gets murdered. Really, like not even halfway into the movie.
Yeah.
And the rest is just them trying to figure out what to do with Godzilla.
Yeah. That one I just didn't like. You were explaining the plot the one time. Like.
Yeah, it's something like, for the most part, it's
Isn't
about,
it like a love story?
Yeah, there's a love story in it, and then they're trying to go out and dance and whatnot. But then Godzilla shows up, and apparently Godzilla doesn't like bright lights. So they shine it at him.
Isn't this supposed to be like another Godzilla?
Yeah, because at the end of the first one,
He gets
the Dr. Yamane, the guy who likes Serizawa, said that with nuclear tests continue, another Godzilla will appear.
yeah.
So that's another Godzilla.
And this one was a year after.
Yeah, about a
It was
year.
55, very close to 56. Yeah, I mean, and then Anguirus was okay.
They didn't really. It's just not a fighting, just them shoving into each
Yeah,
other.
it was like two drunk guys like shoving. Yeah, and then he like didn't like Godzilla flip him and then blasted him.
Yeah,
That's how
he set him on
died.
fire and killed him.
Yeah, and it just to me it was like like
Yeah, it's forgettable.
like after like the movie that had preceded it, like it was just disappointment comparing to that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Like
Even the tone was very
Yeah.
different. It's kind of goofy.
and then Godzilla, like they at the end they just trapped him in ice.
Yeah, and then there's some shots where they have like a helicopter shot, and it would just be like a little toy they would have because the Godzilla model didn't move at all.
Yeah,
It was just stationary, and they'd fly over it like, oh, Godzilla's down there, but it's probably a 2-foot model.
yeah. Well, that was like we could I guess segue into the was it Godzilla versus
Godzilla vs. Kong is next.
yeah.
Oh, that fight on the slope of the mountain.
Two doll action figures you could see
Yeah,
clearly
yeah.
being moved
And
over.
then
a
sometimes
mountain.
they would just get 2 little like rubber models, stick them together, and just throw them down like a slope, and then they would film that.
Oh yeah, when they were sliding down,
Yeah.
it was Mount Fuji.
Yeah,
If I
something like
remember.
that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're like you literally see two.
yeah, they're
things
just
fall-
ragdolling around.
or they like stuck the models together,
Yeah, and they just threw them down a slope of a mountain.
and then the best is like the dubbed over actor. Whoa, look at them go!
I don't remember that, but
But he was saying stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
They're like, oh wow, look at them go! Like
and the thing is with a lot of the dub versions of the earlier movies, they're really altered a lot. Like
Yeah.
I saw the Godzilla vs. King Kong vs. Godzilla, which is technically called the dub version, adds like a whole like a guy has to explain everything to you.
yeah,
It would cut back to him because I guess they thought American audiences were stupid.
yeah.
And I don't know, like they would explain everything. It's like Jim Nance, like a play-by-play, what's going on. It was really annoying.
They had a Japanese Jim Nance and Tony Romo.
Oh, let's see what
man.
Godzilla's gonna dial up
Yeah.
here.
Oh. And you see on Mount Fuji.
But yeah, the American. I mean, I don't mind dubbing, but this is like an American version of it where they just
yeah,
intercut other nonsense into it.
yeah. What did you think of the movie overall?
It's kind of it was ridiculous. Like the whole plot. I mean, we talked about it earlier in our second episode. I think the whole plot of trying to get King Kong was because they just wanted a mascot for their
yeah.
oil company. I don't know I don't remember what company it was. And then King Kong gets drunk off of drinking berry juice.
After he just like fought an octopus.
Yeah, and they used a live octopus, and you could tell when it clearly wasn't a live octopus when he was fighting it, because the octopus was all slimy. Then the
Yeah.
model they used is just like opaque.
Because what was it when he's like throwing rocks and it's like at the real
Oh,
one? It's
a
not
blue
affecting it.
Yeah,
It's
it's a blue screen too. You can see the shadow of the rock like hit the screen and just
yeah,
fade
and then,
away,
and then, like you could tell it's a real one because it's just not reacting to
Yeah,
the
it's just,
rock
like,
being thrown at it.
flopping around.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Godzilla, like what do you think of the design for him in this one?
It was different than the first two. I kind of liked it, you know.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like about him in this one, I didn't get was when he's just standing there, like we're like you seen him over King Kong's like struggling, yeah, and he's clapping his
Yeah.
hands like that, and I was like, eh. I mean, this one they kind of kept more that his breath was like a flamethrower,
Yeah.
because like in the first, what people forget is like his atomic breath in like the first three really, was like more of like a flamethrower.
Yeah,
It
was like
wasn't-
at least in the first one too. It was like a spray.
Yeah, and you see like people like it more set things on fire rather than just blow it up. Like
Yeah.
in the newer ones we see now, it's more like it's a beam.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought the design was fine. I mean, I thought King Kong they couldn't decide between like a man, orangutan, and like an ape. Like they like a gorilla. I mean, like they couldn't decide between.
gorilla is an ape.
Well, that's why I specified where it was like an orangutan, gorilla, and a man. Jerk. But that's
Always
like
fighting me.
yeah,
Like my
Kong.
wife.
Like, wait, can I just segue?
Yeah.
I was playing NHL last night with Sean and my friend Matt, and in one of the games we it was us three versus like another like club, and I fought one of the guys like and I beat him in the fight, and I like because my guy like knocked him out or something like that, or was it Matt got knocked out in his fight, and the announcers in it go, man, that guy got clocked, and the other announcer goes, sounds a lot like my elementary childhood. Something like that sounds like my life in elementary school.
They actually said it in the game?
Yeah, that's what Matt says. I just why do they throw that in there? But anyway, not to get too off topic. Yeah, Kong was fine. I thought like you could also tell the
different suits they had.
Yeah, because the one he's running like his he's running low with his hand, and then the other one is when he's fighting him, he has like short human hands. Yeah, like arms. And then the whole Kong, it gave him powers because it was supposed to be Frankenstein's monster.
He always has like the most ridiculous plot armor possible, or whenever like so many convenient things happen to him, like. It just so happens that lightning... I think... You know what? I think... Didn't they shoot a device up into the sky that caused an electric storm? Or am I just thinking of something else completely? I don't remember. But I just remember...
I think that's a... No. You're thinking of Son of Godzilla.
Oh, yeah,
when they shot that device up into the air, the weather device.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's because that's at the end when it snows.
Yeah, and then Minya.
Every strong man has a sensitive side. Godzilla embraces
foreshadowing The Rock in all his future roles.
Oh god. Okay, yeah. So it just started thunderstorming.
Well, a lot of people don't know is that the reason he had that power is because it's supposed to be Frankenstein's monster. Which again, Godzilla versus Frankenstein monster.
I don't know.
I don't know about that either because the way they made Frankenstein's monster in like those movies, he was barely 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like he fought like Baragon.
Yeah, he like broke his jaw or something.
Yeah, like there were more smaller scale ones. Like he wouldn't have really been a match for Godzilla, and so they kind of gave Kong that ridiculous power, even though
even Godzilla was just beating him up to that point until that happened.
Yeah, it was kind of, and that's where like kind of going into Godzilla versus Kong, like segue I guess a little bit into that. That's why this fight, I don't see it being a good fight unless Kong gets a ridiculous plot power up.
Yeah, which I hope they don't go that route. I really hope not.
I wouldn't have a problem as much with like them fighting if they hadn't made Kong so small in Skull Island. And I get the whole he's still growing, but dude, like you could have made him 200 feet and then double his size over 40 years. I get that.
Yeah.
But you made him. Well, Godzilla was like about 400 feet. Yeah, made him a fourth of his size. So even if Kong doubles in size, Godzilla still has about like 200 feet on him.
Yeah, and Godzilla's also a lot wider and weighs more than him.
Yeah.
And it's like after King of the Monsters, the beating Godzilla took from Ghidorah, like how could Kong stand a chance?
Exactly.
Like Godzilla got dropped from the atmosphere and landed on his back. I mean, he's still hurt, but he didn't die from it, you know?
Yeah. And he survived the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah, he got hit in point blank range.
He barely survived it, but he would have healed over time and came back. But
yeah.
Kong got hurt by a helicopter blade.
Yeah, and
his hand got cut by it.
And then he got incapacitated by
the
gasoline
fire,
in the lake.
The smoke. And he almost lost to the skull crawler.
Yeah.
The giant one until the humans intervened on it.
I don't know. Kong is like.
And Godzilla would easily toss those things around.
Yeah, toss them like salad.
Especially the big one.
Oh yeah, Godzilla would just stomp on it and kill it. Yeah,
and that's the thing too is like you can make the argument. I know like some of the fans, like the Kong fans in this, are like, oh, you know, Kong, he's smarter, he's more agile. But I'm like, but and one of the focuses or like one of the cool things they did with this Godzilla is he's not immobile. He can move.
Oh yeah, when he charged like Ghidorah.
Yeah, or like this one, he's not like you could.
And he can fight up close. Because like the Japanese Godzilla would always rely more on his atomic breath.
His beam, yeah.
But this Godzilla likes to fight up close and only uses it as desperation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like that much more where he's like in the trenches fighting.
Yeah, like there's just no like. Ghidorah had the sky advantage on Godzilla. He had the beams.
And he had
to
like the
match
size
him.
advantage.
He had the size. in water, Godzilla still, like, Godzilla would have won. You saw he was in his element. But on land, Godzilla still put up a pretty good fight. I mean, he was, I mean, you read up on it, he was the one who put Ghidorah in the Arctic. He knocked him into it.
And Godzilla only got knocked, like, into that hole Ghidorah emerged out of, and he got back up.
Yeah, like, so the fight wasn't over in the first one.
And Ghidorah fled.
Yeah, and then the second one, in the final fight, too, with the thermonuclear, wasn't Godzilla getting weakened? Like,
with what?
With a thermonuclear? Or was he just going to blow up?
I think he's just going to blow up.
Like, what he was going to do, like, release the pulses?
Yeah.
But I mean, Ghidorah got powered up.
Yeah, Godzilla was tossing around, too.
And it hurt Godzilla. Yeah, so, I mean, like, he was able to evenly fight Ghidorah for most of it.
Yeah, Kong would get fried.
I would say Kong would lose to Rodan.
Yeah,
because Rodan
is bigger than him.
Yeah, he's bigger and he can move. Like, but anyway, we're getting a little too far.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll get to those. I mean, we'll probably skip a couple movies.
Yeah,
and like in the show.
Yeah, like Godzilla's Revenge with
even Son of Godzilla. Like, okay,
any of the Minion ones were just.
Here's the ones we're not gonna talk about. Definitely not. Even the sea monster one. That one.
Abira.
Yeah.
Well, because that one was supposed to be Kong versus Abira.
Oh yeah,
because that would have made
then
more,
Godzilla
an
got
ape versus a giant lobster would have made more sense.
Godzilla got woken up by
electricity.
Yeah, they had to conduct it on him.
They put the rod.
And then there's what is it? What's the next one? Son of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla's Revenge, which is just a fever dream for this kid.
It was a bullying one.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about those ones because those ones are just ridiculous. So I guess we could talk about Godzilla vs. Mothra the first time.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Well, so did you really to go back a little quickly? Godzilla vs. Kong, like it was ridiculous, but did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I saw just a dubbed Japanese version without the American cuts in it.
Yeah.
A lot of time I was just like, all right, what is this tomfoolery? So I guess, you know what? Let's just skip more of the Showa eras and like get into the Heisei. Because honestly, the only great one out of the Showa was the first one. All the other ones I like all the other ones, but like when you talk about in terms of like quality and which ones hold up better or stand the test of time, it's the first one. Not because of how impactful it is. It's because it's just like it's not ridiculous schlock like the other Godzilla movies.
Getting a giant ape as your
mascot. But like you like them for that. But
that quickly, a point on that. That's where I don't get where people were like criticizing the plot for the King of the Monsters.
Yeah, it's a giant monster movie.
These humans and their plot is like kind of ridiculous. I'm like, have you seen some of these old ones? Like, getting an ape for your mascot of an oil company. What does it have anything to do with oil?
And there's an underground society called the Cetopians.
Oh yeah,
and they're like
Megalon.
Yeah, you're making a lot of noise up there, and we're gonna send our monster at you now.
Or the space apes.
Yeah. Whoa.
They wouldn't even talk when they're in the regular.
And then the Space Nebula X hunters, whatever, in Godzilla vs. Gigan, they were cockroaches. When they died, they turned into cockroaches.
Yeah. Or Invasion of the Astro Monster, where they just borrow Godzilla like he's a lawnmower.
There's an alien attacking us. Like, can we borrow Godzilla and Rodan? And they just completely played them.
And Godzilla and Rodan weren't really in that. Like the footage of them.
That movie has the least amount of screen time for Godzilla. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we just borrow him for a second?
Yeah. We'll give it right back, neighbor.
So I guess I go into the Heisei, which is the second series of Godzilla. It starts with the Return of Godzilla.
Did you want to talk about Godzilla vs. Mothra?
Not really. I don't like Mothra.
Honestly, every time Godzilla lost to her, or like
it was ridiculous.
It was like really.
I mean, there's another Godzilla vs. Mothra in the second series. I keep hitting the microphone.
That was also when Mothra was just like too like they just formed a costume out of fluff balls and then gave it wings.
Oh yeah, her not
design
costume.
Wasn't good.
The prop they used, or whatever, was terrible.
Yeah, and then wasn't that one? It was like mother Mothra and like her two larvas.
Yeah, that one also is like this corporate guy takes the Shobin, whatever they call it, the Twin Fairies, and he like takes them and holds them hostage for a little bit. Something stupid like that. And then Godzilla wants the egg or something, because the corporate people are keeping the egg. And Godzilla wants to like destroy the egg or something like that. Yeah. And then Mothra comes in.
Yeah. I also liked it more when Godzilla was like more the good guy.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't? Because Godzilla's the villain in that one.
Well, he was the villain up until
Ghidorah three-headed monster.
Yeah.
Which is the next one.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk a little bit more because this one was very James Bond-esque because it came out the same year as Goldfinger.
Wasn't that with the princess?
Yeah, she like didn't like a plane get blown up, but she somehow survived.
And then they're trying to assassinate her.
Yeah, and then they have like a James Bond-esque guy trying to protect her, and he always has like the Walther.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like one of the snipers had like the stereotypical like black shade glasses and the tuxedo.
Yeah,
so, like, sniper.
Oh my God. That one was pretty.
But again, for Godzilla you have to take the humans as they are. Like you have to take the human plot as it is. Like it's
you just have to kind of roll with
it. That's the thing with all these movies. When people try to like get like a more realistic human plot, I'm like, look, you have giant radioactive monsters slugging it out.
Yeah.
How realistic can the humans be in this?
It's like if you try to get too realistic, then you get the dark and depressing Aaron Johnson looking bored and horrible. Because that's what it'd be like if Godzilla was real. It'd be miserable. It'd be a complete nightmare.
It's like a natural disaster.
Yeah. Godzilla is supposed to be like, I mean, originally, the allegory he was originally, but now since time has passed, he's more of like not a superhero, but he's just like a good guy now. And he just fights other monsters.
Or I like what they did in this one, like in the newer ones where it's like he's not a good or bad guy. He's a force of nature. Like he's an animal part of a giant ecosystem, and humans are just caught in the middle of it. Like I think that's probably as realistic as you're gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. I kept on running over the wall
without making like other like ridiculous points. Like I think that's why I liked like he was more like they're just giant animals in an ecosystem, like fighting for dominance. Or that to me, that's probably as much sense as you're gonna get out of it.
Oh yeah.
Unless you want to do like the Shin Godzilla, where it's just like people in a boardroom discussing what they can do, which is what as realistic. Like if you wanted to go that route, but then it's not really about Godzilla.
Yeah, it becomes about the human trying to stop him.
Yeah.
So I guess just segue into the second series then.
Well, that's the
we don't care about those movies.
Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
It was okay.
I thought it was good. I mean, for the sake like you had Rodan, Godzilla, like the monster element was good of it.
Well, the Godzilla's barely in it again.
Well, like when they're all fighting at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Was it Rodan is flying and Mothra's on his back shooting the...
Yeah.
Godzilla's like struggling with...
oh, no. It's in Invasion of Astro Monsters at the end when Rodan latches onto Godzilla's shoulders and just bull rush charges him off a cliff, and they all three of them roll off a cliff and into water.
Well, that's what I loved about those was like they got creative with how they could fight because they were limited in what they could do with men in suits. So like they would have them like pick up or like we'll get to Megalon where he lifted up on his tail and catapulted at him.
Well, after this one, the Invasion of Astro Monsters, those are like the ones we don't want to talk about, really. That stretch. So then there's Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, which is just a complete fever dream. That one was weird. There's like a couple sequences.
Wait, which one?
Godzilla vs. Ghidorah.
Oh.
Maybe a couple sequences where this guy's like tripping out in a club and everyone has fish faces on.
Yeah.
Weird movie, to say the least.
That's... Well, because it was about like that time period, like
pollution, it was the 70s. Yeah.
Pollution, the psychedelic drugs coming in. But I mean, regardless, like the human part of it bored me. It was just weird, like you're saying.
It was about a kid.
Yeah, you see like the fish heads, and then people.
And then Dora's like an alien.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a part real quick that it
wasn't the cat like caught in the pollution.
They actually drained or like put a bunch of sludge on a cat. They actually did that.
Yeah.
That poor cat.
And then those weird cartoon like
those sequences.
Segues,
yeah.
Like where you see like a Ghidorah cartoon feeding on a
Hedorah.
factory.
You said Ghidorah.
Oh.
Hedorah.
My bad. Don't get yourself.
You're responsible for 1,000 San Franciscos.
But yeah, where he's like feeding on the pollution out of a factory.
Yeah.
I was like, you can just show that with the real monster. You don't need.
Well, he did do that. It was a cartoon of him grabbing an oil tanker and sipping it like soup or something. Like
that. But I just those were just unnecessary because you see the real one doing that.
And honestly, it probably took longer to actually animate that, like drawing it, than it would just to film it.
Yeah, that one. Hedorah has always been one of my favorites because I thought he was interesting. He was weird in a cool way. He was a different concept. Like an alien organism that actually feeds on the pollution of Earth. Like it was an interesting concept.
It was just a weird movie. He was
overall, without the monsters, it's just a weird movie. I mean, and then there was the part of like where he's flying over
and then Godzilla flies.
No. Where
when
that part too, where Hedorah's flying,
and like the structures would just fall down for some reason.
but there's no sound to it.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It was just weird. Or like when he
an odd choice.
Yeah. Or was it the kid? Or the one part he just sees like.
Oh, Godzilla in the background, and then they clearly just added like a blotch in post production.
Yeah. But I mean, the fight at the end, like Godzilla versus Ghidorah, I thought it was good.
Ghidorah. You keep saying Ghidorah.
Oh my god. Ghidorah. It's hard to call him the smog monster.
Yeah.
I thought their fight was good. Like, it was one of those ones where Godzilla was kind of outmatched.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, Hedorah's powers were cool. He had, like, the beam. He could fly. He could expel things.
Yeah. He's a cool monster.
Yeah, he was. He was stronger than Godzilla.
A lot bigger than him, too.
Yeah. And that was one, too, like, where it had a good combination of the humans. Like, they could actually build technology to help Godzilla in it.
Yeah, they built, like, the electric magnetic field.
Yeah, the electrodes, like, where it could dehydrate him. But then again, like, where Godzilla picks up the...
Oh, he flies back.
Yeah, he flies.
First, Godzilla flies to catch him, just falls down on him, picks him up and flies back with them just to put him in front of the electric field.
Yeah.
And just murders him.
And also, too, like, Hedorah could also, like, regenerate pretty quickly. Or, like, they had the eggs in front of him and another one came out quickly. So I think he was a step up from the previous monsters that Godzilla.
Yeah, he was cool. Just the weird movies.
Yeah.
So, Godzilla vs. Gigan real quick, because we're almost done with the show era, so... That one is...
We're almost done with the show.
No. That one is also pretty boring. Godzilla vs. Gigan. This is the one where there's a... You hear the Bohemian Rhapsody?
That was the one with the dialogue.
Oh yeah, where Godzilla talks with Anguirus. Yeah.
Hey, Godzilla.
In the Japanese one, was speech bubbles.
Which would
in the Japanese version
better than the dubbed over. Yeah, you hear like the radio, like someone was scratching a disc.
Again, an odd choice to do that.
Yeah, like someone was scratching a disc mid talk.
But this one was that a bunch of aliens from Space Nebula Hunter X or whatever I think it was M. There's a Godzilla amusement park, and in Godzilla Tower, that's where their little nefarious base of operations take place in. Yeah. And then. I guess I forget what happens. I remember they blow it up, like they blow up the head.
Well, Ghidorah came back.
But yeah, Gigan barely is in the movie too. He appears about like 45 minutes into it.
I always liked the aspect of Gigan. He was like a coward.
Oh yeah, he'd always run away.
Yeah, he was fine fighting when it was in his advantage, but as soon as it turned south, he just bailed.
Yeah, he dipped.
He did that in Megalon.
Yeah, he's a scumbag. Just leaves.
I mean, Gigan was he was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Like he could shoot the beam out of his eye.
Well, he never did that in the movie.
Well, not until the later ones.
Oh, yeah.
But even then it wasn't like a clear beam. It was like that. Remember in Godzilla Final Wars, it was like the spot.
Yeah, it was like a firework.
Yeah, it was like a
only in the video games, like the Atari ones.
Yeah.
Did you have like a clear beam?
Yeah, and then they gave him in the games they gave him the teleportation.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. Anguirus to me kind of too was like a bad.
Oh, he was an idiot in that movie.
He was a bad choice of an ally for Godzilla.
Remember Gigan was revving up his buzzsaw
and he looks at it and runs right into it. Yeah. That one Ghidorah was fine in, but then like when they blow up the mind control like station.
The head?
Then it's like Ghidorah's just like spazzing out and then Gigan just bails.
Yeah.
And gets beaten up.
And then Godzilla holds back Ghidorah's heads and then Anguirus like almost like a drop kick, but he jumps up and then gravity pulls him towards...
Yeah, with his spikes.
Yeah.
Anguirus, to me, I didn't hate Anguirus, I just didn't care for him.
Yeah, he's kind of just there.
Because with, like, the man in the suit, only 2 of his legs were working.
Yeah.
Like, he just couldn't really do much, and then you saw, like, his other moments, he just... No, really, like, the only 2 of the legs were working. He kind of looked like he was, like, paralyzed.
Maybe he was.
But, like, But he would just like kind of move along, like, and then you see him. He got beat up with Mechagodzilla, just pummeled him.
Yeah. So I think I don't want to talk too much about the Showa because we've been talking about almost 30 minutes for the Showa. So let's just then segue a little bit. Let's not talk too long about the Heisei, and then we'll get into the Millennium real quick.
Yeah.
So the Heisei is probably I like these movies the most.
Yeah.
Because they're the most action packed and they show Godzilla a lot in it.
And I like this Godzilla design the most.
Yeah, the Godzilla 90s is pretty awesome. Like his design, his maple leaf esque dorsal plates, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this one started with the Return of Godzilla, which ignores all the Showa movies except the first one. It's a direct sequel to the first one. And for what it is, besides some questionable effect choices they used, like the giant Godzilla foot, which just looks horrible, it was actually pretty good. Yeah.
I liked his roar too.
Yeah, he was cool in it.
It was a cool blend of like his original and like a newer kind of roar.
Yeah, I liked his design too. And originally
he had like those two big front teeth popping out.
Originally they were gonna keep that design, but then the suit got stolen. So they remade another one for Godzilla vs. Biollante. Which is I think pretty much I would say all the Heisei movies are good, except maybe Godzilla vs. Mothra and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, probably the weakest ones.
I want to say we skipped over like two of the better ones in the older. It was like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla.
It doesn't matter. Stop.
Yeah. 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 No, I thought the '90s were pretty. They're probably your best overall series.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, not because we grew up with it. I remember I'd watch some of it at your house, the VHS.
Biollante, I don't remember too much about I never cared for Biollante.
It's like she's not really a villain. It's just more of like a...
They kind of like Godzilla and her just cross paths.
Yeah. There's like there's one part where this guy...
Wait, quick question.
Yes.
How did she go from the rose?
I think she might have got hit with radiation or something.
And that's how she morphed.
Because she had Godzilla cells in her. I think it was always constantly irradiating or something. I don't remember that one. That one's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, she went to like
but it's the spirit of a dead a scientist's dead daughter that he mixed her, I think, her cells or something with Godzilla cells, or I think it was a plant that got mixed with. It was like a whole amalgamation of a dead daughter, a plant, and Godzilla cells.
Another ridiculous plot.
Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. And then they hit Godzilla with this thing called like ANEB, which is like anti-nuclear bacteria that cools down Godzilla's core, so it just shuts him down. Yeah. And it's like a disease they hit him with.
Yeah, how did he kill her at the end? Was it?
Biollante just disappears, kind of. Like it was Godzilla like beat her up a little bit, then the fight kind of just ended. It was really abrupt for the most part.
Didn't he like do the same? He didn't do what he did to Orga.
He kind of did a little bit, but that's not what killed her. She like turned into a bunch of dust and flew up in the air, and you saw the picture of the daughter go up in the air.
And then you like heard her cry.
Yeah, then Godzilla just falls by the shore because then it was the anti-nuclear bacteria that just like shut him down.
Didn't kill.
No, it didn't kill him. It just like made him tired or whatever.
And then there's the 90.
Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, or King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
And this one, he's three little dough rats. So this one's like time travel. It's very confusing, the time travel. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it was, because isn't it like it's a future, it's like a Futurians they're called?
Yeah, they lie to the humans. They say in the future, Japan is utterly destroyed by, or like the world or something.
They lied about Godzilla.
Yeah, it's utterly destroyed by Godzilla.
So then they go back to like Godzilla Source in the 40s during World War II.
Yeah, on Lagos Island. They replace injured Godzillasaurus, and they put him at the bottom of some kind of sea in the ocean. Replace Godzilla with three dough rats. And those three dough rats ended up being exposed by the same hydrogen bomb that mutated Godzilla into the Godzilla he was. So, from my understanding of this one, because I had to look something up.
Then they went back into the future, so where Godzilla should have been, it was Ghidorah then came in. But Godzilla, because they put him at the bottom of the ocean, there was like a nuclear sub.
Yeah, it's still the same Godzilla.
But so then the nuclear sub then...
It had more radiation, made Godzilla bigger and taller and angry.
So then he was still present. He comes back. They find out the Futurians were lying to use Ghidorah as basically like they were going to threaten.
Yeah. And then Godzilla destroys the base that controls Ghidorah, decapitates him, and Ghidorah like falls in the ocean. And there's just like a Godzilla rampage scene. Then Mecha King Ghidorah comes back from the future. Right? Yeah, and then they fight and they fall in the ocean. Because when I think about the time travel, doesn't really make any sense. Because they said it's the same Godzilla. But how is it that the Godzilla from the 40s gets put in the ocean? How is the events of Biollante and Return of Godzilla erased? Because I saw something online that said it didn't. It wasn't erased.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get too much into it because I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
So then there's the Godzilla vs. Mothra with Batra in it, which is okay again. That one was kind of okay. That one has like a plot of a husband and a wife are divorced and they hate each other, and then they're caught in the middle of. Oh no, the husband's like a thief or something. He's like a very Indiana Jones-esque. He's like getting treasure or something like that.
Yeah, and that's how they like stumble upon the eggs.
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah, it's like in like a ruin, like a temple.
Yeah, and Batra is like the protector of Earth, but he goes to more extremes than Mothra is.
Yeah, he's like a dark.
Yeah. And then Mothra all of a sudden can shoot beams from her antenna.
Then, like, aren't all three of them fighting, and then Batra and her finally team up to fight Godzilla?
Yeah, and they just goon squad him.
But then Godzilla kills Batra, but then just falls in the ocean. Nothing.
And
happens.
then Mothra seals him by doing some kind of magic thing.
And then she goes off into space.
Because to protect, like the whole thing was Earth is gonna get hit by a meteorite in like 1999, so Mothra goes off to like destroy the meteor.
And you see like her cells fly, like coming off of her in space.
Yeah.
Which then leads to Space Godzilla.
No, which leads to
Godzilla.
No,
but it led to him.
Yeah. So then I think one of the best ones. Probably my favorite one is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla 2 looked cool.
Yeah, he was actually pretty powerful too.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best ones. I think one of the best Godzilla movies. Definitely like my favorite one, probably.
Rodan was cool.
Oh yeah.
How did he get like those powers?
So something like these children were singing some kind of song, and then Rodan woke up or something like that. I don't remember the specifics of it, but Godzilla didn't kill Rodan. Rodan was like incapacitated.
Yeah.
Or was it like the song was freaking out Junior or like the little baby Godzilla? Because they established baby Godzilla can communicate with Godzilla and Rodan.
Well, yeah, it's almost like both their child.
Yeah. And Rodan and Godzilla were fighting over who owned the egg or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then Mechagodzilla is made from the remnants of Mecha King Ghidorah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he's actually pretty powerful. He didn't kill Godzilla. He only remember when he shot him with the anchors?
He shot him in like the...
He shot him in the hip. But it destroyed Godzilla's second brain, but didn't kill him. It just paralyzed him.
And then Rodan sacrificed himself.
Yeah, Rodan was a real homie.
Yeah, and then Godzilla got powered up.
Yeah, and Godzilla just completely obliterated him.
Yeah. And then the next one...
The Space Godzilla. Which again, kind of underwhelming. There's a couple of side plots with humans in it that are just... Like, there's like a love story in there somewhere.
And then, yeah, because that one came from Mothra going off in the space.
And it was also Biollante when she flew up in space, too.
Because, like, Godzilla cells, like, formed in, like, a black hole.
Yeah, now came Space Godzilla.
Who, power-wise, I thought was awesome. Like,
yeah.
He was cool. And then Godzilla had, like, his son.
Yeah, little Godzilla.
Yeah. The fight at the end, like, Mogira was good.
Yeah, he's kind of cool. Again, he's like made from the scraps of Mechagodzilla.
Kept like
recycling.
This
like
one has
plastic.
This one
even though it's metal.
This one has to work. Yeah, no, that one was good.
Yeah,
I thought like Space Godzilla was like a cooler villain.
Yeah,
he was always one of my like favorites.
And then there's Godzilla vs. Destroyer,
which I think is probably like one of my like favorites.
Yeah, which is the last of the second series.
Yeah. Where
Godzilla melts down and dies.
One of the most heartbreaking scenes as a child.
Yeah. I always hated watching that one because not because I didn't like it, just because of watching Godzilla die.
And even Godzilla Jr. too, getting killed.
Yeah.
You felt so bad.
Yeah, he actually was murdered.
Yeah, and then Godzilla has that moment with him. You feel so bad.
So how, in case you're wondering how Godzilla became Burning Godzilla, there's something like on Birth Island, which is where Godzilla and Little Godzilla were living. There's something like with the uranium cores or deposits in the thing, like overwhelmed or like blew up, and Godzilla absorbed too much radiation.
So he was just.
So he became in that state.
Yeah, and he was eventually just gonna like melt down.
Yeah, something crazy like he'll destroy the Earth with his meltdown.
Yeah, it was too much. But yeah, no, that one was good. Destroyer was a cool villain.
Yeah, he was.
Because he came from the Oxygen Destroyer.
Yeah, it was like
crustaceans.
That with the ancient crustaceans. Crustaceans, yeah. Can't speak. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll save the Millennium for, because I want to talk a little bit about Terminator, and we're getting filled to the brim, if you catch my drift. But Godzilla 98, which is the first attempt at American movie, and I don't know if you know the backstory of this movie. I looked it up. Originally in 1992, I forget what movie company, they bought the rights to make a Godzilla movie with John DeBont. He's the guy that directed Twister and Speed. So he was going to direct it with the script written by two guys who did Pirates of the Caribbean. And they have a bunch of maquettes they made. And Godzilla's going to fight a monster in that movie called the Griffin. Something like that. It was a shape-shifting alien. And Godzilla was like something made from, like, Atlanteans made Godzilla or something like that. So John DeBont couldn't get, or whatever movie company couldn't approve of the budget of 130, which is what ended up being the budget of the 1998 one. So then he left, everyone left, and then Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin came on, and then we got what we got with 98. And I don't hate this one, partly because we grew up with it, and I'd probably watch this one a lot. So I don't hate it, but it's not Godzilla. It's a reptile running around.
Yeah.
It's silly, like, yeah. Honestly.
It was more of like a giant reptilian, like, fish.
Yeah.
It just wasn't...
That's a lot of fish.
And, like, also, too, like, the fact that he's navigating through New York and no one can, like, find him.
Yeah. He's a huge monster. How did you just lose him?
Yeah. And he's building an entire nest in Madison Square Garden, and no one sees that. Like,
no one decided to go inside Madison Square Garden and see a bunch of eggs.
And, like, he didn't have, like, a blast. He had, like, a flammable breath that caused
they called it
a
power breath.
Yeah.
Get it right.
I mean, the scene, like, with the helicopters was cool. Like, him moving and stuff.
Him chasing him down.
Yeah, and, like, he comes through the building on one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was good. I thought, like, it's not Godzilla.
Yeah. I will say, though, in terms of, like, pacing and showing Godzilla throughout the movie, this one did pretty well.
Yeah.
Godzilla's shown mostly throughout the entire movie instead of, like, the 2014 one, where he's shown up until, like, an hour in.
Or every time.
And then he's teased throughout until the end. Even in the end, he's still teased a little bit. But this one did a good job of showing Godzilla throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Even though it really wasn't Godzilla.
It was just weird, like, seeing he could be taken down by missiles.
Yeah, even though that's, like, the one thing he's supposed to be, like, impervious to conventional weaponry.
Yeah. And, it just wasn't bad. It's just, I think if you don't title it a Godzilla movie, it's much better.
Yeah, I think if you look at it for, like, a big, dumb monster movie.
Yeah, like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I think it's okay enough, you know. It's, like, it's no Rampage, but...
Oh. They're missing the rock.
But, like, Matthew Broderick's pretty bad in it. Just his acting. And then there's Hank Azaria.
He was good in it.
Yeah, Jean Reno. What do you do, Mr. French? Running would be a good idea.
The one scene I will say was pretty good was Hank Azaria's reaction.
Oh,
when Godzilla, like, stepped but missed
it's like,
him. It's like batting around, like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad. And they had Mayor Ebert and his advisee.
Oh, yeah.
Siskel, Mr. Siskel. Which used to be, because now they're dead, critics. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel.
You just can't resist it, can you?
I can't. So yeah, like I said, I don't hate it as much as everyone else seems to.
It's enjoyable to watch.
So I guess the last movie we'll talk about for Godzilla, we'll just end with Godzilla 2000. You know.
How much time do you have?
Well, I want to talk about Terminator.
Oh, all right.
Or do you want to talk about Shin Godzilla?
Talk about Godzilla 2000.
Okay. So this is the first Godzilla movie I saw. And for what it is, I actually kind of like this one a lot.
I think the first one I saw, I think it was like a 90s.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one, but I think this was the first one we all saw in the theaters.
Yes.
Definitely. Because I remember my dad took us, like, I remember, like, especially, like, him and, like, Sean, like...
Well, yeah. It was 2 years after the 98
Because this was, like, it was such a big release, like, it coming into theaters.
The Japanese Godzilla coming into theaters.
Yeah. It wasn't released on, like, a sci-fi channel. Like...
or Spike.
The History Channel. No, yeah, no, I really like this one. I thought this Godzilla's design was pretty cool. Like they changed his blast, which was cool.
Yeah,
his spikes were cool. They weren't like they weren't more like dorsal fins, like they're
they're
actually
like spikes. Yeah.
I thought it was good. Orga was a cool design.
I actually paid attention when the humans were talking.
Yeah.
And Orga, or like they're called millennials or millenniums, something like that. And they're an alien species in that UFO that crashed on Earth millions of years ago, and they laid dormant because like light wakes them up or something, or they're drawn to light. And the only reason why it comes up because a submarine saw it and drew light on it, and that's when it like surged up.
Yeah.
I never knew that because I never paid attention as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, you're just like, when's Godzilla showing up?
Yeah. And then when Godzilla like drops that huge building on Godzilla and it like extracts DNA, it becomes Orga's a mutation of the Millenniums.
Yeah.
He only becomes Orga because he couldn't handle the Godzilla DNA, like the what's the word? Craziness of it.
Oh man.
That's how we get Orga. I never really like I said, I didn't pay attention, so
yeah. That one had like another Godzilla human moment.
Godzilla!
Yeah. No, but you, like saw that in Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, like that one.
Oh yeah, we forgot that. Yeah,
the soldier like who like thought of Godzillasaurus as like a savior.
Yeah, because the Godzillasaurus wiped out the Americans attacking Lagos Island.
Because what happened is that one got injured, severely injured, and they thought it died, and then the bomb went off it.
Yeah,
and that's what became Godzilla.
And there's that moment where that guy's just staring at Godzilla,
and they teary-eyed. And
then Godzilla like remembers him, and they just blast him.
Didn't Godzilla like cry too, or something?
He might have.
Yeah, and they just blasted him.
Yeah, they just murdered him. And then, what's the guy's name? Katagiri and Godzilla 2000. Godzilla!
And the claw just comes down.
Yeah.
And that one was good. Like the dad was like tracking Godzilla.
Yeah, they were part of the Godzilla Prevention Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. He had like a daughter, had like some dumb intern. Yeah.
Well, he was like old friends with like the
Katagiri, yeah, and the other guy. He used to like work for them or something, and he branched off because he wanted to study Godzilla, and Katagiri wants to murder Godzilla.
That was actually those were cool shots of like you see them driving,
and Godzilla's in the background.
You see Godzilla walking in the background.
Yeah,
like they're actually tracking him. Like it was cool.
Yeah. Definitely one of my favorites. Also, Godzilla 2000.
Yeah, Orga was cool. At the end, like when Godzilla just tricked him.
Oh yeah, he played him like a fiddle.
Yeah, I like the CGI of like Orga's eyes lighting up, like oh boy, played him like a fiddle.
Yeah, Godzilla just destroyed him completely.
Blew him up.
And speaking of blowing up, or rather, not blowing up the box office, but yeah, it wasn't good. Terminator Dark Fate came out 2 weeks ago about, and let me get my creepy notes.
I had no desire to see this. So
it opened in America with stupid Wikipedia, hurry up. I think about $40 million it opened on opening weekend. And the movie for the most part, it is spazzing out on me. The movie for the most part was generally well received on Rotten Tomatoes, if anyone listens or pays attention to that. 71%. Oh, here it is. It made $51.9 million, and so far has grossed $203. And I don't know why they want to make another Terminator movie, honestly.
I did not see Salvation or
Genesis.
Like I saw like the clips of like him fighting his younger self and stuff.
Yeah, that was in the beginning, yeah.
But yeah, I had no desire to see this. After like the third one, like we were talking about, like I was just like, all right, they need to just stop.
Yeah. After well, let me just say obviously the first two are really great. No discrepancy amongst that. And I recently saw Terminator 3, and I kind of liked it. I could see why people it is a step down. It's more cheesy. It's more lighthearted than
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. than the other two. But like I kind of liked it though. I mean, it's the same story pretty much as the ST2.
That's what I mean. Is like how many like these more upgraded advanced robots can come back in time to try to kill someone?
Yeah, I know. But like there's a lot of cool set pieces. There's like a whole chase scene when they leave the veterinarian hospital. and then Arnold's like on a crane. That was really cool. Like the fight scenes and the stunts in this movie are pretty good.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's more lighthearted. There's a deleted scene where they show Arnold, like they show who the T-100s are modeled off of, and it's someone named William Candy. But he's like, "I'm Sergeant William Candy," and one of the people at Skynet say like, "I don't like his voice." Then it shows Arnold again, but like a different haircut. We can fix it. That's how he got his voice in the model.
Arnold.
We can fix it. Talk to the hand.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to get better than the second one.
Oh, yeah, but like the third one isn't horrible as everyone says. Like obviously when you compare, like as people herald one of the greatest movie sequels ever to a decent like action movie.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to not compare well, but
yeah.
I like Terminator 3 for what it was.
Yeah. As much as I can remember, I liked it.
I remember I saw it on DVD when it came out. When it first came out on DVD, I saw it.
Yeah.
Don't know why my parents let me watch that.
Yeah. I think like the girl, like the villain was like
TX.
She was like a step down. Like she was no, a step down. She was like basically just an upgraded version of the one he fought in T2.
Yeah, T-1000, I think.
I think like the delivery of it was like a step down from like the second one.
Yeah, they just picked a girl because they're like, oh yeah, we got to pick up a bigger male audience.
Yeah.
She's hot!
But she was basically like the same thing as the one he fought in the second one.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Get down.
Get down.
And then this one you see that Arnold has like a beard.
Yeah, so I guess I saw some spoilers for the movie, so I guess spoilers, not that anyone watches this, but spoilers, in the beginning, I don't know if you know, do you mind if I... So this movie, in the very first couple minutes, it takes place in an alternate timeline, so like Terminator 3 is negated, Salvation, Genesis. John Connor gets murdered in the first couple minutes of this movie. At least I heard, I didn't see it. But, and then... Like, what it does is it's the same thing as T2 again.
So it was like...
But it just replaces John Connor with another girl.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's the same movie, but they just had to, I guess, murder John Connor for shock value.
So then why is Arnold like the old model?
Because that John Connor that Terminator that murdered John Connor, I guess, realized like, oh yeah, I just killed somebody. Just went off grid. And then, yeah, he goes under the alias of Carl. When they find him years later, he has a beard, is in a cabin. Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah, he's like a tile painter or something. I don't know.
Wait, so like he developed like emotions like, oh no, I just killed someone and went off the grid.
So it says in the Wikipedia, 3 years after averting the threat of Skynet, Sarah and John Connor live in peace when they encounter T-800 and it murders John. So let's see where it says. Let's see.
So then the girl they're trying to protect is the new John Connor?
Pretty much. Let's see where it says about Arnold and Carl. Oh, yeah. So it says, during that time, it learned from humanity and developed a conscience. So after just murdering John Connor and just living amongst them, he developed a conscience. And he went under the name Carl. And he adopted a human family. Or he had like a human family. Let's see... Yeah, a bunch of nonsense, but... Carl. And obviously, I haven't seen Terminator Genesis. I don't care to see it. I remember I saw an ad for Genesis where it showed James Cameron saying like how great it was. And just like, how much did they pay him for that?
Yeah.
And even the trailers for this movie would say, James Cameron is back. Remember that?
Is he a part of this one?
Yeah, he wrote the story.
For this one?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Probably didn't care to know either. I only knew that because it said the trailers like made it super obvious.
I think this he just kind of like produced, like just put out, and it's like he's just focusing on Avatar 2 and 3.
Yeah, they're
because
5 sequels or 4 sequels.
That's where the real money is gonna be for him.
Oh God. Avatar.
Well, they said it's taking like a lot of time because they're also developing like new technology for it.
Well, I'm gonna look up the Avatar.
Isn't that coming out like next year?
Who cares about Avatar? That's one of those movies. Why is it taking so slow? That's one of those movies that I'll just use my phone. That's one of those movies like people only saw it because of the VFX, but now that VFX are so good, and everyone talks about how forgettable Avatar was, the first one. Do you hear anybody ever clamoring about how good it was?
It's not talked about anymore.
Yeah, it was only known for its VFX, but now it's kind of a forgettable movie. Let's see, when's the sequel coming out?
Well, I think because it was like the start of that.
Avatar 2 is coming out December 17th, 2021. I am so excited for that.
It's taking 12 years.
And there's going to be Avatar 3. And then James Cameron said in 2017, let's face it, if Avatar 2 and 3 don't make enough money, there's not going to be a fourth and a fifth.
Yeah, but Avatar up until Endgame was the highest grossing movie. Like you're expecting.
They also re-released it. Well, so did Endgame,
but it's like you're expecting them to beat that.
And Avatar 3 is coming out December 22nd, 2023.
That's what I mean. Is what are his expectations of them not making the money? Like they have to make $1.5 billion.
I don't know.
Because I mean, if you want them to beat the first, that's a pretty tall order.
Yeah. So they also filmed. They filmed two and 3 simultaneously.
Yeah, they're doing them back to back.
That's what I just said.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, that's nice. And then they said filming on next 2 sequels will begin after wrapping the post-production on the first 2. Yeah, who cares? I think James Cameron's kind of overrated as a director.
The thing with that storyline of Avatar is you really can't do too much.
They killed the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then that guy Jake became
an Avatar.
Yeah. An
Or
11-foot monster.
Or he became the Avatar was what they what were they called?
Pandorians?
No, the Na'vi.
Oh yeah, the Na'vi.
Yeah, the Avatar was like their Na'vi body.
Yeah, what's such a weird movie.
But the thing with the first one was fine. It's just that storyline. I don't know how much.
Ooh, I fell asleep during the first one.
I just don't know how much you can do with the storyline of developing that. They possibly developing 4, 5.
He's James Cameron.
Yeah, it's gonna turn into a Terminator. It's gonna run out of steam very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. This is stuff you should quit while you're ahead.
Yeah, why don't you just leave the first at what it was?
Well, at least for Terminator, stop at 2, maybe stop at 3, because I don't hate Terminator 3 as much as everyone else.
I think Avatar you could make a sequel and then stop. I don't think you need to turn it into an entire series.
I hope not. I mean, now Terminator's gonna be dead. Because like I said, this one, with its current gross of $200 million worldwide, and it had a budget of $185 to $195, an additional $100 million for marketing and whatnot, it could lose Skydance and Paramount about $100 to $130 million.
Wow,
isn't that impressive? No one really cares about Terminator anymore.
Yeah,
and since the past 2 with Genesis, and what's the other one? Salvation just being bad. It's why would you make another one?
What was Salvation's plot?
That one took place after Judgment Day. I don't know exactly the specifics of it.
That was the movie where
Christian Bale flipped out on somebody. Yeah. And he meets a young Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know. It would just they tried to expand something that really didn't need to be.
Yeah.
They kept trying to do all these subplots to a bigger plot and it just failed.
And then I don't even know what Genesis is about.
Yeah, Arnold's fighting his younger self. And
they said Arnold's made of human flesh or something like that, and he can age. Something stupid like that.
He's a machine.
Yeah, I don't know.
So his human flesh doesn't matter as long as the machine's fine.
Yeah, why would they even add droopy tissues that can age on a robot that's supposed to kill people?
If his one mission is to kill something, then he won't be on Earth that long.
Yeah. So, I guess, anything else you want to say? Talk about? Talk about our feelings?
No, let's just end it.
I feel sad.
We didn't touch on really on Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the first one. Or Godzilla, or your boy Godzilla versus Megalon.
Well, we to be a little tight on time this time around. Tight on time this time around. Oh my god.
Or Terror Mechagodzilla.
Maybe next time, if we ever get the opportunity, we can,
Do we really want to talk about it with that other guy, though?
I mean, not really. But there'll probably be another time where he doesn't want to show up, and it'll just be us two again. So, with that being said, this has been our episode. Yeah, I don't know how to end it. Yeah.
Thank you to our 6 subscribers.